So for a long time now, I've been steadily trying to diversify myself within the world of anime and manga, especially within just these past few years, and with that, there have been multiple series that I've read and or watched that I would like to say I'm a solidified fan of now in a multiple range of series. And to a certain extent, there have been some anime and manga that I found an extreme liking to as of this year specifically. For example, things like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Dr. Stone, and more so especially Black Clover and Mashle, two of the biggest magic series to ever run in Weekly Shonen Jump, and respectively, both of their series are really a big part of this last year coming all the way into this year of 2021. And to some degree, I would have to say within the time that I spent with anime and manga as a whole, the premise of magic in general has never really stuck out to me that much. But taking into consideration all of the amazing magic series that have come out over the years, and all of the more magic anime that receive a load of attention nowadays, I've come to the question of what magic anime and or manga series should be crowned as the best magic anime and manga of all time. Of course, when it comes down to it, this is all opinionated from my experience with each individual magic series, so if it makes it any better, Fairy Tail is for sure not the best out of any of these. All jokes aside, I've given my fair share to the Fairy Tail franchise, and for what it's worth, it's not as bad as everyone says it is. And so with that in mind, that's exactly why today we're going to be discussing what are the qualities and what are the attributes that make one of, if not the best magic anime series, and or just any big hit magic anime and or manga that has ever been in the discussion, and what can be considered the best magic anime / manga. So for those of you who don't know, I might as well just get this out of the way now. A couple days ago, I asked people both on my YouTube community tab and Twitter what their thoughts were on the best magic anime and manga. And to be fair, I haven't even necessarily seen every single isekai or shonen magic anime out there, but thankfully, the three certain series that got brought up the most were the anime and manga that I have either seen entirely or have watched and or read a good portion of. And to really no surprise, these series are the ones that relatively make the most sense when it comes to this discussion. So, to make this clear, the series that I'll be talking about are Black Clover, Magi, Fairy Tail, and just out of pure stubbornness, Mashle. Not because it's the best, but because it has the potential to become one of the best, and I think it rightfully deserves to be talked about on this video, but other than that, we might as well just get into it. So, for starters, Black Clover. You know, Black Clover for myself personally was kinda on and off, and typically when I look for a new anime and or manga to read, I think one of the most important parts about getting into the story is the beginning of the journey. And at first, Black Clover just had so many similarities to previous big hitters of Shonen Jump. And really, for me personally, that's what kind of threw not only just me off, but a lot of people in the community at the time. But for what it's worth, Black Clover quickly diversified itself into its own thing. Of course, the series has its similarities and references to other anime and manga, but the core factor of the series swiftly made something great and original as the story progressed. And when it comes down to it, Black Clover has a wide variety of unique and amazing abilities that involve magic. And with the massive amount of potential that has already built up from not only the fan base but the series itself, it could easily be considered one of the best magic anime / manga on this list. But above all else, this is a video about the best magic series in anime and manga, and ultimately Black Clover isn't just there yet. I think at the rate Black Clover is at right now, with everything that is currently going on in the manga and in the state of the peak of the series so far, Black Clover just has so much time to progress and build up on its world. And especially in the realm of magic in general, throughout the series of the manga and most certainly the time skip, there have been a ton of new and distinctive spells and abilities, so really when it comes down to it, I don't necessarily think Black Clover at this current moment is capable of being claimed the best magic anime and or manga, but I definitely do think within due time Black Clover could be crowned one of, if not the best magic anime and or manga of all time. And if it means anything, Fairy Tail as a whole isn't a series I wouldn't really call a bad concept when it comes to magic anime and manga specifically. And my time with Fairy Tail was just like how most people viewed the series that actually gave the anime and manga a chance. A journey through a great sense of family and friendship, and similar to Black Clover in a way, you see how the guilds care for each other and everyone that's a part of their specific guild in a certain way that gets you more attached to some of the characters and guilds. And a great concept in this series that was showcased multiple times when really the guild or guild member specifically is backed into a corner with no remorse, and even in a similar situation to when someone that is considered family leaves or joins a guild is basically on par with something like a character death and a new character being introduced. And on the assertion of magic as a concept in general, I would have to say it does it pretty okay. Maybe a little bit worse than what we've seen in most magic series, and to tackle on a concept so diverse, it for the majority stays in the same general idea of magic. It does, however, introduce a multiple range of different types of magic, but overall I think that Fairy Tail for the most part just is one of my least favorite magic series, but I don't think it's the worst concept when it comes to the best magic anime and manga of all time. So this next one, Mashle. Like I said earlier, this one really doesn't stand a chance with the rest of these other series that I mentioned, but to my own selfishness desires, I thought it would mean the most to at the very least touch up upon this series. Now, Mashle is of course relatively the newest series out of all these other magic anime and manga. With the manga with only less than 50 chapters and hopefully soon to become announced anime as of this year, Mashle for a lot of people that are caught up to the series can tell you right off the bat that this manga has huge potential, and not only in Japan but towards the Western audience as well. And for a while now, most people would refer to Mashle as the magic series that really is just a carbon copy of the world of Harry Potter and the assets of One Punch Man, but really it's not as simple as that. This manga right now is taking more of a diverse route, kind of like Gintama in a way, where the series relatively starts off very funny and comedic, but slowly within time you can see the route it's trying to go with a serious touch into a mainstream series. As for the core of this video being about magic and concept around the source, Mashle, just like any other series mentioned, has a great notion of how things are done in terms of magic and the strong points that come along with it, but overall and in the long run I do think this series will become one of, if not the best magic anime and manga of all time, just not at this current moment. But I guess by now, with the 3 other series that is not really making the best anime and manga, of course in my opinion, it leaves us with the last anime and manga that probably makes the most sense to some of you guys as well, and that series being Magi. Now, Magi, and this might come to a surprise to most of you, but it's the series that out of all of these other ones that I have read and or watched, I have the least amount of knowledge of, and right off the bat, that already should tell you something about this manga that makes it so special and why I specifically put it at the top of this list. Now, coming from my perspective of things, my time with Magi was a wonderful experience and it will most definitely continue to be that way, especially because I, unlike other people, watched the prequel to Magi first, Adventure of Sinbad, and that was an amazing watch, and to binge a series about one of, if not the best character in the series, becoming the character he is now in the manga, is something we don't get to see a lot of time in anime and manga. But as for the main story of Magi, more so specifically the magic itself and the whole power system of Magoi, I found it the most difficult and the most thought out of any of the previous magic power systems that I mentioned on this video. And as for the story itself, to dwindle into that degree, it just gives it a lot more of a reason why Magi pretty much formulates everything together, and to a certain extent it executes the moral of magic better than a lot of other series, and just overall on its unique standby. And I know one of these days I'll finish the manga to see everything else I'm missing out on, but overall from my experience with Magi, it just puts together everything in a way to make it the best magic anime / manga. Once again guys, as always, that's all I have for you today, but let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comment section below, and if you want to leave a comment suggesting an idea for a video, be more than happy to do so. I love reading the comments, and maybe if you post an interesting topic, I'll choose yours and make a video on it. And guys, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Also, forgot to mention, but there's a link to my Discord in the description box down below if any of you would like to join. With that everyone, my Twitter is @AnimeAugie, and I'll make sure to catch each and every single one of you guys in the next video. Peace.